ko Arangi, toko monga, ko rangatata, toko awa, kei Browns Bay, aho, and oho ana, ko Kerry tako ingoa. This is my family, and this is why I do what I do. It's to help make a difference to my family. And welcome to this week's Tech Tok. This is where we're supporting student teachers to gain a little bit more knowledge and confidence in your teaching. That's what they've been designed to do, and they're open to student teachers, early childhood, primary and secondary throughout New Zealand. TENZ is an organisation run by volunteers who are passionate about supporting teachers and learners in technology. And we are really keen, as I said to Patricia earlier, we're really keen to get people on board. So if there's any of you interested in being reps, please jump on and volunteer. Okay, just a very, very quick recap. So the curriculum has 3 strands, the nature, the knowledge, the practice, the head, hand, heart, as we always say. And each one of these strands is broken down into components, and there's 8. So the nature strand, the heart strand, thinking about our actions in society, is broken down into 2. The nature of technology and the nature of technological outcomes. So that's critiquing existing outcomes, and nature of tech's thinking about the discipline and what it is to do technology. Technological know-how, the thinking one, the learning, that's broken down into modelling, systems and products. Everyone gets confused with products. Products is actually about the materials, thinking about the materials you're going to use. Then there's the hands one, the practice one. Tech practice is about brief development, planning for practice, outcome development and evaluation. Okay, so that's a quick recap. We're going to do that each time. So by the end, you will know that curriculum inside and out, and you won't have had to struggle learning it. Okay, today's session is on hydroponics. This is the last one of the hydroponics session. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very quickly go through some of these items. This is a just use bottle, but it's also a reservoir. You're going to put that at the top of your hydroponics with the hose. The water's going to come out. It may feed into this container, or it may feed into your pet bottle, which has a little bit carved out. In there, you could put your yogurt containers, and this yogurt container has got pumice in it. Empty yogurt container, or you might put in your grow wool or rock wool, and there you could plant a bean seed in that, or you could put a little cutting, say impatiens cutting, a fuchsia cutting, and then you put that in the water. Once that gets quite tall, you then may put it into a cube of grow wool or rock wool. This is a little fake pretend plant. Then you're going to use hosing. Often you can get the cheap hosing from an irrigation kit, from warehouse or places like that. So that's just normal garden hosing. You can get this little tool to punch a hole in that hose, and then you can attach this tube in there. This is a little dripper, ice cream container. This is a piece of paper folded in half and cut, and then made a little stand label, and that would be used to label each of your techniques. In this case, it says NFT, so that's nutrient film technique. And this is a bit of silicone in a tube, which you can use to seal the outside. So you're going to put your yogurt containers in here, or in here, or in here, and then that's where your plants are going to grow. So what we're going to do is, you've got 1 minute, don't write these down, 1 minute to remember these items. She says, and it doesn't click. Got to tell you, there's also small expanded clay beads, large expanded clay beads, and a wick. And a minute's a long time. Oh, there's also nutrient in there. I forgot to tell you that. That one in the middle is nutrient. Okay, so if you've got a piece of paper, write down as many of the things as you can think of. Okay, we'll stop there. Did you get more than 5?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Maria, did you get more than 5?
Yeah, I think I got like 17.
Oh, fantastic. Patricia, how did you go?
I'm pretty good. I think I got most of it.
Awesome. That is so good. So, as an activity, what did you think about it?
Yeah, it was good to force me to like be thinking deeply when I'm looking at them, looking at the slide, and yeah, it's good to know all those things as well. Just
Okay.
to
So
like base.
Good. So it was a tool to make you actually reinforce what each one of those things are, because we're going to be using them in the class with the kids. Good. Maria, did you like it or not like it?
Yeah, because it sort of connects to the activity of last workshop. Yeah, we were asked to list down some of the things that we need.
Good, good. So with a student activity, this is a quick thing. When would you use it?
After teaching them everything about what they've needed, and yeah, just see if they remember, and maybe to when they know what they're for as well, so that they could put them together.
Good, good. So you might not have me, because I wasn't sure who was going to be, was at the very first one. So I didn't want to assume that everyone knew what those things were and had remembered all of the things. So I couldn't assume it. Whereas if you were in a classroom, you would assume most people were there the day before when you talked about the things. So whether you spent all of that time explaining each one of them, again, it would be up to you. I think I gave you the minute seemed way too long. I think you could have had 30 seconds. What do you think? Or do you think you needed the minute?
If I hadn't had it before, I probably would have needed the minute.
Okay, good, good.
Today is probably 30 seconds is all right.
So what strand do you think that was reinforcing?
The materials one.
Okay, good, good. So which one can you remember? Head, hand, heart. Which one do you think that fits in with?
Characteristics, heart.
So it could be that one if you're looking at existing. So that would be perfect. So if we're looking at characteristics of technological outcome, that's in the nature strand. That's fantastic. So that would be, you'd be looking at existing products and how they work. So that would fit in perfectly. Can you think of anything else you could be looking at?
Head.
So that's the thinking and the learning. So that's the knowledge. That's fantastic. So what might that one be? So the knowledge is broken down into modeling, into systems, or into products. And the products is the materials.
Products, okay, yep.
So you think it'd be tech products?
I think that.
Yeah, tech products, yeah.
Okay, good. So that could be when you're looking at pumice, perlite, vermiculite, grow wool, you're looking at those materials and how they work. So that would be really good. It also could be tech systems, which is also in that thinking, that knowledge strand, where you've got input, output, and this transformation. So you could also have a tech systems. So it fits in a whole lot of different places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got another activity. So this again could be something you could use in a lockdown with students who may not have a lot of resources, because technology is really impossible. Well, not impossible. It's very problematic when you can't work alongside the students, when you haven't got the resources, they don't have the resources. How can you help them learn? So this is a quick activity. So you've got 1 minute to think of or list with children. It might be go and find as many things as you can think of that are absorbent. So go now, start now. Okay, stop there. So hard, isn't it? You've really got to think about what is this notion of absorbent and what does it mean? So that's really going to get the students really thinking about absorbency. Okay. So why would we possibly choose that word, that term?
It's quality of materials, but it really depends on the material. And then,
good. And why are we talking about it when we're doing gardening and hydroponics?
Because it holds water.
Perfect. We need the medium that we're going to put the plants in. It must be absorbent. It must be able to suck up that water. It's a really, really important part. So if it's something that doesn't allow water to flow through, it's not going to be a good medium for us. So it's a notion that students need to understand to gain success. So this quick 5-minute activity will help you assess whether they do understand that, and it will reinforce that with the students. And plus the parents can get involved back home at home, and they can be helping with the student. And whether you ask how many got what, or that's going to be up to you, it's the activity that's most important. And then you may go on and check it and use it as formative assessment if you wanted to. So if we now we're going to, for that activity, which strand do you think it fits with? Head, hand, heart, knowledge, nature, practice.
It's kind of similar to the one before with products, with products and the knowledge of materials.
Perfect.
Within system.
Perfect. It does. It does. You've really got to understand the properties of the materials and how the materials function before you choose them correctly. So you know, it might look nice, but is it the right one to do your job? And that's the same with food, with fabric, with wood. You've got to understand the properties, be able to make a wise selection when you're choosing your resources and the materials you're going to use. So you've got to understand those. And you as the teacher have got to think, what does the product have to do, what they're making, and what properties of the materials do the children need to consider? And then you've got to scaffold them so they do consider those things. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that activity?
That's a good one. Yeah. It gets them to deeper understanding of the materials by thinking of like the properties.
Cool. Okay. This one's going to be a bit more challenging. Okay, so what we can do is let's go with the chat function and see how far we go. So what we're going to do is in the chat function, start with A, B, C, and you're going to think about some words the students may want. And if you can't think of anything beginning with that letter, then jump on through to another one, because the more people you have, the easier it would be. So what we're going to do is go through, we're going to look at parts of plants, what plants need to grow, types of plants, medium, terms, technology terms, maybe like risk-taking, attributes, things like that. If I was doing this with students, I would allow them to use a dictionary. I would talk about synonyms, the words that are similar. So I always think of synonyms being S and similar being S. So synonyms and antonyms being the opposites. So I would allow them to do that. So let's just go through a few. So going through A, B, and C. So if we do that in our chat.
Yep.
Okay.
It's going to jump around. That's whenever I can think of.
And as a teacher, I would be going through and I would be saying, think about parts of a plant, think about things you saw on the picture that you use for the memory game. I'd be giving them prompts constantly to help them. Okay, we'll stop there. And what I did as the teacher, I had the answers, because it's always often the way you do an activity and then you think it's going to be easy and it's not. Yeah. And then you struggle with how do you give the prompts, because you can't remember actually the letters, some of the ones that are good for A. So for me, I wrote down agriculture, agronomy, aquaculture, air pump, aerator, absorbent. So those were words that I wrote down to help me in case I forgot. And B, I struggled with, but I got balance, bacteria, bubbles, and bucket. And C, cultivate, crop, channel, circulate, consistent. D, dirt, dangle, drip, droppers, disease. And E, electricity, expanded clay. So those are things that I wrote down to help me, because the chances are when I'll be working with kids and someone would say, Miss, what's one for A? I would really struggle, or I might struggle. So I've pre-prepared the answers for me to help me and with the lesson flow. Okay, so what strand do you think that activity could fit with?
Technological knowledge.
Yes, why do you think knowledge?
Yeah, it's getting familiar with the materials and the things that we need.
Great, so it definitely
use
fits
it,
under that tech products, which focuses on materials. So that's really, really good. It does do that. It does a whole lot of other things. So what's something else it also does? So the head, hand, heart. So you've got the nature, the knowledge, and the practice.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe characteristics of existing tech.
Outcomes, fantastic. Yeah, it does do that too. So you're looking at you're thinking about existing products, and they would be some of the ones you might list. And it also might be tech practice, so outcome development, so and evaluation, so words of things they're going to do when they make their product. So you can see that's actually quite a more sophisticated activity and a lot more challenging. It also could be a conversation starter when someone says dirt and someone else says soil. You might think now is the opportunity to talk about the difference between dirt and soil, or someone comes up with a term and you think, okay, that's a good chance to do some teaching. So you may be able to turn this into a poster and it could go on the wall, and that will give you some words that the students can refer to. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to brainstorm a list of words. And these are going to be, this is something that you'll always do before you start a topic. So you're going to think about the words that the students must know and the words that are going to help them. So this is going to be techniques and processes, materials and tools, terms and jargon, attributes and adjectives, and cross-curricular knowledge. So and what we're all going to jump on, Bernie's going to put the link in the chat for the brainstorm words. There we are. She's put it in the chat for us. Thanks, Bernie. Please don't put your words in the yellow bit, because that's going to be a special place for us. So you might think some of your science words. So in here, you could put leaf or stem. If you can think of some tools or some of the equipment we used, if you can think of some things we might grow, they would go in the plants section. If you can think of terms, adjectives, if you've got little children, they've got to be able to describe what they're doing. And that's going to be something that's so absorbent. And they may even say suck. So what are they going to need to know to be able to write these stories about this? What are some terms that your littlies and your big kids are going to need to know? So just chuck a whole lot of words down. Either if you want to, if you've got two devices, you could Google. Otherwise, just stick down some words. I'll stick down some too. And then we'll get some of these lists growing. Jump into a box, write a word, then jump into another box.
It's a double up word. Back to oh. Oh, sorry, that's already there. Ah. What is that word when the water moves up through the cells?
Capillary action.
Yeah.
And that's where I would be Googling these, and I would honestly, I'd have the thing up and I would stick one word in, and then I would look at the synonyms and find out all the other words that were similar to that word, to help expand the amount I've got, the ideas. Okay, so we've got quite a few words. This is really cool. Now what I'd like us to do is, can you put the easiest words at the top in the yellow part and move the hardest words down, further down. So you've got easy words getting harder and then really hard words down the bottom. So just choose a column and rejig the words so they're in a better order of easy to hard. So I don't know if you're on your phones, it might be a little bit harder. Okay, we've sort of got the idea. Okay. Now, if you look at these words, you've got your spelling words for the week. So you've got the easy words at the top for your lower ability, and now you've got the harder words for your higher ability. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, this is the longest one, so I'm going to choose that one, cut and paste, and I'm going to jump back into the PowerPoint. So can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we've brainstormed, as the teacher, brainstormed a whole lot of words. Those words I'm going to use in so many different ways. We've reordered them from the easiest to the hardest. These would be the spelling words. They're going to be the high use words that your students are going to need for success. Your ESOL learners, you could give the whole list to your ESOL learners. They can take them home and learn them, because often it's not that they don't understand the terms, they don't understand the words. So if you've got people helping them at home, they'll help learn those words. If you happen to have anyone deaf in your class and you have an interpreter, then you could give those words to them and they could practice the signing. The interpreter needs the signing beforehand. Your students can use them for their reading and writing, so they can be up on the wall and reference to them. And the other thing is you can use those words to help you search your readers. So if you're looking for instructional readers or journals, then yes, you're going to do hydroponics, yes, you're going to do gardening, and you'll do sustainability. And if you don't get a lot of readers, then you're starting to think, what else can I put in as my keyword searches? And you've already come up with some, so they will be useful to help you. So those are words that you know the students need to know to succeed. You want them to succeed, and you don't want them failing because of their lack of ability to understand the language. You want them that not to be a hindrance. So you need to be able to unpack those words and use them in a non-judgmental way. So hopefully we've done some fun ways that are good for COVID, good for you delivering it when you haven't got students in face-to-face, quick and easy. Things that you can put up on School Talk or Seesaw or something like that. But also now we're going to use them in a variety of other ways. So what we can do is go into Puzzle Maker, and I don't know if you know Puzzle Maker. Have you done Puzzle Maker before?
No, no.
Okay, so this is Puzzle Maker. So you go to Discovery, put in the search engine, you'll put in Discovery and then Puzzle Maker. You'll come up with this, and this is so cool. You're going to put in your title. So I'm going to put in hydroponics. You can make it complicated or simple depending on your level of your students. So that will be how big it is, how many letters they've got to work out. You can make it with your littlies. You're going to share each letter once. Or if you've got your senior children at intermediate, you're going to have it crisscrossing and lots of intersections, really complicated. You can, with your littlies, you might want them all lowercase letters, so you don't have your capitals and your lowercase. I just did my copy and paste from my list. So here's my list of words that I've done from that other list. Create my puzzle. There it is there, and there are my words.
Ooh.
So I can make a word find for my bottom spelling group, for my middle spelling group, for my top spelling group, and it's taken me seconds. When would you use this word find?
Could do it at the beginning as a fun way to just get them thinking about it again, just like a reminder.
Good. So it could be a recap. So we're starting the session off with this to build on, remind them, possibly it's Monday morning and they've forgotten what they did on Friday. So that would be a good thing. Or it could be a brand new thing. Yep, I love it. What else?
Maybe for early finishes for some other task.
Yeah.
Great. Because it's educational, they're going to be learning, thinking, you know, what is a reservoir? What are drippers? So it's building, reinforcing, so that's great. What else?
They could come up with their own words, like a model for a task they have to do after that.
Great. So they'll do one of these, get an idea, and then they'll make their own. So because you can give them the link, so that's perfect. It could be an extension activity. It could be, I used to put a newsletter out once a fortnight talking about what was coming up. So this could be a fun thing and that was to help explain to parents why we were doing what we were doing, especially with a subject like technology, because parents are thinking, why are you doing hydroponics when technology is all about computers? Because they don't understand what technology is all about. So I would then explain what we were doing and why we were doing it. And that we're going to need some PET bottles. Can you bring them along next week? Or we're going to do this, and just prepare them. So I might put in this little word find in there so the family could do it together. I could also have it as a reliever pack. So the reliever could do something related to hydroponics, even though the reliever knew nothing about hydroponics. There's something that they could actually do. It could be, again, something that could go for lockdown. So students we could do this as a class, or it could be something that they could do at home during lockdowns. So hopefully you can see it is literacy based, but it does have strong links to the technology, because you're thinking, what are the words that students need for success and how can I build on those? Sorry. There we are. So working with indicators. So if we were looking, let's just think about changes over time. If you were doing changes over time, so that was the indicator you were focusing on, you could use words or you could use images. So if you use this list of activities, what could one possibly reading group or one group, when you're working with another group, what could they be doing that would show that they understood about how things change over time? So what one of these activities could you get them to do?
A timeline.
Brilliant. So what would the timeline be?
They're like a graphic organizer of what they have been recording, like a more refined version of their notes of recording.
Fantastic. So that there's two things. I hadn't thought of that. That to me, that's absolutely brilliant. So I was thinking of an existing product and how it had changed over time, or changes from the old to the new, possibly with growing things, but it also could be of their own practice. So that's cool. What else? What other activities could you do to get them thinking about how things have changed over time?
And they can work together to make some kind of newspaper article.
Good.
Also poster.
Yeah.
Poster, yeah.
Some kind of literacy outcome where they have summarized something.
Cool. So there's lots of, once you've sort of got a list and then you've got an indicator, you're sort of thinking, okay, I'm working with this group. I need these groups to actually continue on. I want them to think about how things have changed over time. then possibly they don't have to always write it. It could be you've got a jigsaw and they're matching a decade and the item, or they're placing a whole lot of images of hydroponics over the era, or growing plants over the eras, or it could be tools, gardening tools over the eras, and they have to order them in what came first, what came next. Okay, or it could be sorting things into this is this century and this is last century, and then sorting images. So there's a lot of different ways and strategies you could get them to show changes over time that isn't always writing an essay or a lot of text. There's a lot of other ways we can do it. Okay, so have you got any questions about what we've covered today? Can't believe how quickly the time's gone.
Yeah.
So this today is like, yeah, just some activities surrounding hydroponics.
And hopefully you'll be able to see that you can apply all these strategies to just about anything with technology. So they're often quick introductory activities for COVID, or for introducing a topic, or motivating, starting the beginning of the day as an introductory activity to excite the children, or possibly at the end to round off an activity. It may be to recap what we did yesterday. So it's just a quick activity that hopefully you could just change. So the topic is toys. So you're doing exactly the same activity. You would do a memory game with an image of a whole lot of toys. So the strategy can be changed, but the topic will be changed, but the strategy would be the same. So that's what I was hoping for you to be able to sort of see. There's a wide range of things you can do that often people think are literacy based, but actually you can use them perfectly to support your learning in technology.
Is do you expect like every school to have tech at the moment? So we're going to be going into schools and they will have something like that. Might not be the best, but so
they should. It's compulsory subject. Great question. It's a compulsory subject, so it is expected to be occurring in every school at every level. What happens and how it's done, it may be integrated. The chances of you being in the school and seeing it, it's hit and miss, because the chances are it's not. A lot of our students say they haven't seen it because it may be the social studies unit when you're there, or the science unit, or you've just got to luck it in the right time when they're happening to do the tech unit. So it's always good to ask, what was your tech unit? And it seems a lot of people tied technology to Matariki. So they looked at flying kites, making kites. They looked at putting food on and working out what food to present. And so they interwove a whole lot of the learning areas together, and so Matariki was quite a common one. So that if they did that, then it's done, and they may not do it again in this term. So it's hit and miss whether you will see it. A lot of people don't see it, but it should be being taught at least once every year, if not as a major, and then often people will do it as a minor, and by that I mean they will do maybe a science topic, and then they will just touch on bits that are technology based, or it may be art and they touch on bits. Then you might be looking at perspective drawing or modeling, and that will be the only thing they do because it's a major art focus, but they're looking at modeling and showing their ideas via models. So they'll tick the tech box there. So there isn't a general one way of doing it. Anyone, when you're out in schools, if you would like any assistance, contact me and I'm more than happy to help. The Tech Tok for all of September will be Te Aro Ako by Lauren Pugh, and she is the most dynamic person, amazing speaker, and she will be running all of the Tech Talks for September, and this is based on the Ponamu, the greenstone, going from its raw state, crafting it into the polished product. And so the focus is on this design, but it's more than just a way of planning, it's a way of teaching and a way of thinking. So I think you'll get a lot out of it. And yeah, and she is a really dynamic speaker, so she'll be really engaging. But I'm also aware, you know, you will be on practicum, you may be on practicum, and so it will be a busy time. But and we'll be recording them. We will be recording them. Okay, so I'd like to. Oh, has anyone got any more questions?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with what's word cloud.
Oh, a word cloud is what they do is you can, when you get off this, you can Google it, and basically you make a picture with words. So when you
all right, okay.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it visually shows those words. They're really cool.
Like speech bubbles, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like a speech bubble, but it's all these amazing words. Some are big, some are little. And the more you use the word in your list, the bigger the word becomes in the word cloud.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Okay, so we'll now close the meeting with a karakia. So as there's so few of us, if you all want to jump in and say it with me. Kia mātou.
Kato.
Mua. Mātou a.
Mātou mahi.
Mahi.
Miko
Papa
hoki.
Arahina.
Mātou.
Ka.
Mātou.
Mahi.
Ano. Brilliant. Kia.
Baka.
Baka. Mapua.
Mātou. Ki.
Papa.
Me.
Ngā.
Ia.
Ia.
Whakapono.
Whakapono.
Mana.
Kia.
Mai.
Mātou. Fantastic. Okay, so we've closed our meeting, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with the group. And I wish you, if you're not home already, I hope you have safe travel home, and all the best. And please get in touch if you've got any queries or concerns and would like any more assistance.
Yeah. Thank you, Kerry.
Very much.
Okay, yeah. Bye.
Bye.